Let's start with a quick little recap. A little over a year ago, we purchased this hurricane-damaged catamaran that had been sitting in a yard in Melbourne in Florida for around 4 years. After having completed all the necessary work to make her seaworthy-ish again, plus a couple of just for the fun of it projects, it was finally time for our boat named Spiffy to go back in the water. Our next goal is to motor her north to North Carolina before making the rest of the structural repairs and also completely rebuilding all of the interior. This week's video is sponsored by Incogni. More about them a little bit later. Hi guys, welcome back aboard good old Spiffy, the current reincarnation of the Beverly Hills Hillbillies boat. We've got lots of clutter up here on deck and of course our high quality Walmart tent for shade. We're also missing one eyebrow here and in general the boat just looks a little bit trashed. Yesterday we put the first roughly 10 hours on the engines, motoring from where we splashed the boat up to Titusville. Today we're going to do another 30 miles further north, provided of course nothing breaks. Yesterday we rolled up our tent because there was a squall approaching, and I think that was a good thing because it actually got kinda windy. Luckily we saw the squall approaching, otherwise that would have been the end of our lovely Walmart tent. We were anchored somewhere with plenty of fetch, giving our Mantis M2 anchor its first workout. Also our Mantis dinghy got a little bit of a beating, but both of them made it through without any incidents. Of course, as soon as the rain arrived, we found a leak from the hatch openings we sealed up last week. Such is boat life. In an attempt to make our Walmart tent look a tiny bit better and also act a little bit less like a sail, we chopped off one of the legs to have it sit more level, and then we used that leg to reinforce the front of the tent. MacGyver would have been proud. So far we've had a nice gentle start to our journey north, and tonight we get to celebrate with a little bit of office work. But tomorrow our journey north starts in earnest.
Oh my god, but look at this.
What's up?
I just got an email from someone named Michelle at Workforce Unlimited.
Okay.
Sounds fancy. And they want to recruit me for a high-paying position. And it's remote.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's as, the in-house counsel. And look, it's for a huge company.
But Ava, you're not even a lawyer.
That's rude. I counsel you all the time.
Ava, this is clearly a scam.
No.
You need Incogni.
What is Incogni?
Well, now that you ask, Incogni is the sponsor of this week's video. Unfortunately, using the internet in any way, shape or form means your personal information is scattered all over the place. And as data breaches become more and more common, your personal information is at risk and you'll start receiving more and more spam.
Part of the problem is that data brokers get their hands on your information and sell it for a profit. Through this process, anybody can end up with your information, including Michelle from Workforce Unlimited.
Ava, she's not real.
Still, I don't like her.
There are many problems with this. For instance, in the US, there are specialized people search websites that aggregate all the data they can find on every single person and then provide that information on the internet. They turn a profit by giving away your sensitive information, potentially to people with bad intentions.
There are countless examples how this could be harmful or annoying. For instance, there have been huge loans taken out in people's names without them even knowing it. And we are all familiar with the scourge of the 21st century, robocalls.
Incogni can help. Incogni will contact the data brokers on your behalf and request that your personal information be removed. All you have to do is to create an account, grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf, and then sit back and watch them do the work.
Take your data back with Incogni. Use code SALLIFE or go to incogni.com/SALLIFE to get 60% off an annual plan. Incogni offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out.
Thank you so much to Incogni for sponsoring this week's video. Let's see how nasty the chain is when we pull it up. Yesterday it was pretty bad, but let's find out. Our anchoring setup has worked out well so far, except for this little detail where the chain kind of castles up here and then it gets wedged behind the windlass there, which is very annoying. So tonight when we have the hook down, I'm gonna see if I can shift all of the chain a little bit forward. After a quick, gentle cleaning of our lovely mantis anchor, we'll be ready to go. We're making great progress heading north. Ava's at the helm right now, and we have just surpassed 10 hours of runtime on both of the engines. That is excellent news, both because nothing has blown up in those first 10 hours, but also because it's the next step in the breaking in procedure. Both of our engines were rebuilt by the previous owner, so I figured we better follow this breaking in procedure from Myanmar. And now we are between 10 to 50 hours, which means we should be spending most of our time at maximum speed minus 400 RPM. With a 10-minute run at a maximum minus 200 RPMs, and then a 4 to 5 minute period of wide open throttle. I did our first wide open throttle 4 to 5 minute period just before picking up the camera, and yeah, knock on wood, nothing has blown up so far. This is the exact anchorage we spent the first night in when we started bringing Athena north to North Carolina, so being here again is a fun trip down memory lane. Of course, back then we had the luxury of the high output alternator on the engine, so we didn't have to rely on this noisemaker for electrometricity. Fortunately, we are the only boat here in the anchorage, so we haven't been annoying anybody by running the little noisemaker, but let's head inside and check on the engines. We did burn a little bit of oil yesterday in the engines, and apparently that can be normal for a rebuilt engine, but let's see what's happened today. Or at least normal until you've kind of broken the engine in, but well, yeah, today we have used 0 oil. So, who knows, maybe that's a good sign. And the coolant looks absolutely perfect. Let's check the other engine. And fingers crossed. Yeah, we might have used just a tiny bit of oil, but it's very, very little. Okay, well, that's good. Then we're ready for tomorrow. That is gonna be a 70-mile trip, I think, so almost double what we've done the last 2 days. We continued our puttering heading north. What we both love about the ICW is the nature you get to glide effortlessly through. Unfortunately, the last bit of the Florida ICW is very straight and also very populated.
A very high priority since getting the boat in the water, besides crashing, is to get some sun tea made. Today the sun's shining and we're gonna do it. Are you excited?
I'm very excited because even though I've only been in the US for a relatively short period of time, iced tea has become quite the addiction.
I'm also very excited because I finally get to use our crab jug here. And I just want to do a little disclaimer. I know this could be a very polarizing topic. We were actually a little bit nervous to even bring this up, but I'm just going to come out. I'm going to say it. We are Lipton people through and through, okay? We've tried other brands. No, Lipton is the best. You guys are probably wondering, why are they doing a whole segment on iced tea? Because I just can't stress enough how much Mads loves iced tea. And as many of you know, when he does something, he really focuses on it. Sometimes could get really intense. You know, he started drinking iced tea when he was working on the catamaran with my brother-in-law in Charleston. And it really spiraled from there. And we got an iced tea maker on Athena, which I cannot tell you, like, the amount of experiments Mads did in getting, like, the perfect amount of tea bags to water ratio. So it's become quite intense. That's why today it's a bit of a gamble. We're gonna do the recommended 16 bags to 1 gallon of water. So we'll see how this goes. I just have to add, I still have not gotten over being able to see out of the port lights while I'm inside the boat. Something, because I'm shorter, I can't do aboard Athena, and it's just, I love it. It's so nice. Look at that view. And look at this baby. She is all ready to go. We got to get her in the sun. I just love it. Nothing says summer more than a jug of sun tea. There we go. We got her all cozied up next to our solar-powered water heater, and now we just gotta wait. It's now many hours later, and Mads just reminded me to check on the sun tea. And I can guarantee you, this might be my very last time making sun tea, depending on how it turns out. Because I know if Mads was doing it, he would like have had a timer set. Like the internet said 3 to 4 hours. It's been a little bit longer than that.
It feels like it's been a fair bit longer than that.
It's fine. It's sun tea, okay? Like, that's the whole point of it. Okay, let's go check it out. Okay, she is looking pretty good, nice and ambery. And this is feeling very nice and warm. I'm very excited about this for the shower tonight.
Because both of our engines have been rebuilt, I keep a very close eye on them as we're puttering along, and during one of my checks I noticed that the tube nuts on one of them that secure the alternator bracket had vibrated loose. I must not have tightened them enough when I put everything back together again, but luckily it was an easy fix. We kept pushing north, doing really long days in an attempt to get to North Carolina as quick as possible.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the outskirts of Savannah. We've been puttering along for almost a week now, and we've not made it to quite the halfway point. I think the halfway point is going to be Charleston, which we're still about 2 days away from. But we have reached another important milestone. I was going to take you over here to the engine control displays when I noticed that a bird has pooped on our seat, which is by far the nicest thing we have on the boat. So thank you, random bird. In other wildlife news, dolphins. Anywho, what I wanted to show you is the fact that both our engines have now surpassed 50 hours, 51.5 and 50.8 hours. That means we have officially made it through the breaking in period, and it's also time for the first oil change. We haven't had any issues with the engine so far, other than the alternator bracket coming loose here on the starboard one. But other than that, so far, so good. Or, that is to say, over on the port engine, I have noticed there is some diesel that's accumulating under the engine, so we must have like a small leak from the fuel line somewhere. But we'll see if we can find that once we get them running to warm up the oil to do the oil change. It's not like it's a lot of diesel here under the port engine, it's just barely covering the bottom of the engine compartment, but it's definitely not supposed to be there. And this is the engine that clonked out right after we got loose of the slings when we splashed the boat last week. But that is a story for a little bit later, so let's see if we can find this leak and do the oil changes. I brought along my little oil changey sucky doodad there, which makes doing oil changes so much easier. And it's just powered straight off of our starter batteries with these clippy doodads, so it's super easy to move from hull to hull. I haven't bothered cleaning up the diesel under the engine yet, because when I do the oil filter, I'm probably gonna get a little bit of oil down there, so I might as well wipe all of that up in one fell swoop. If I could make one change to my oil extractor here, it would be to have some kind of volume indication on it so that you could see how much oil you've pulled out, but yeah, it works. Whoopty, old oil filter removed. Brand spanking, brand name new filter. Nothing is too good for the darlings. A little bit of oil and we should be good to go. By pure dumb luck, we have a little under 2.5 liters in this partially opened bit of oil here. So let's go ahead and dump that in there. That should get us almost on the stick. We're on the stick. We just need a little bit more. While running the port engine, I found the leak. When I tried tightening the nut, it seemed to get a little bit worse.
So we'll leave it for now, and then we'll just rely more on the starboard engine. If you're new to boating and the ICW, I highly recommend you avoid the weekends, especially around the major cities. It gets crazy busy. If you can time it so that you spend the weekends in some of the more remote areas, then you'll barely see another human being. After much puttering along, we have actually made really good progress this week. We are a little less than 200 miles from Oriental, North Carolina, which is gonna be our new home. I am excited, grateful, and slightly surprised that nothing major has broken so far. The engines are doing pretty well. We've got that slight diesel leak from the port one, and we've got some vibrations on the starboard engine. Those vibrations have nothing to do with the engine. That is because last week when we got put in the water, right as the crane let us out of its sling, so we were just floating, the port engine clunked out. There was a bit of air in the fuel line. That's not a big thing. It just clunked out. And then 3 seconds later, there was a big bang and the starboard engine clunked out because we hit something hard under the water, and yeah, we've got some damage on the starboard prop. We had a friend of ours go in the water, and he said it's an area that's about 20 millimeters wide and a deflection of about 5 millimeters. So that is causing some vibrations, and I think maybe that's also one of the reasons that that alternator bracket vibrated loose. If nothing else goes wrong, and don't mind the Aldi bag here, that's just to remind me not to bump my head on the Walmart tent. But if nothing else goes wrong, then we should easily be able to make it to Oriental next week. Tomorrow we're gonna take our only day on this trip north of not moving. We're gonna do that a little bit that way because there's a national forest in there. That was one of our favorite things from the ICW when bringing Athena north. It's super beautiful in there, so we just want to take a single day to appreciate that. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that we're both very excited to get to Oriental, to just be in one place, have both Athena and Spiffy in one place, get the CRV up there, just have all of our lives be in one spot again. And on that hopeful note for the future, I'm gonna end this week's video here. Hope to see all you guys back here aboard the catamaran next week for hopefully arriving in North Carolina. And yeah, as always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video,
please remember to leave a like.
See you.
See you. Yeah, definitely could not hear anything you were saying.
Oh, that's
and there's
okay.
a giant bug on the window.
Uh-oh. And of course, thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this week's video.